Could I ask you, but before we sat down for this meeting today, we saw a video about the sort of origins of the Ahmadi faith, and something that struck me particularly was that your faith believes that Jesus Christ was crucified, yet he didn't actually die on the cross. Am I correct in that?
That's right.
That's sort of fundamentally different to other religious beliefs, particularly the Christian faith.
But
does that bring you into?
It should not be different fundamentally, because the evidence we have received gathered is from the Christian sources themselves. According to the New Testament, before before the event when they say he gave up his ghost, that his spirit parted, he cried out, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. Why was this cry of desperation? If he himself had offered his soul for the sake of redemption, this cry doesn't mean anything. And why to God? Why a sort of a blame upon God? Not a blame, but a sort of protest. It has to be a completely different understanding of what was happening from what the Christian world understands today. That was based on his prayers before the night. He prayed throughout the night to God to take up this bitter cup. Oh, he had no right to call it a bitter cup if he himself had offered to take it. That's one point we draw from this. The second is that God must have given him a promise that he will take away this bitter cup, or the last cry of desperation, Eli lema sabachthani, would not have been born. So now look at what the New Testament records, and in the light of what I have said, try to reinterpret it. When he was taken down from the cross, his rib was pierced on the side. But according to the Bible, water and blood rushed out or gushed out. Now, any medical man knows that a dead man's blood is clotted. And when it leaks out or rushes out, nobody can refer to it as blood. The clots never rush out anyway. It has to be serum only. It can only happen in case of pleurisy. When something pierces in the direction of the heart, before that it enters the pleura, in which blood and water has seeped. And it was the best of that pleura which caused this gushing out of water and blood. And it can only happen if the man was still alive. Then his bones were not broken, while the bones of thieves were broken. Another indication that something was happening distinctly to Jesus while others were treated differently. He was left to hang on cross only for a few hours in the afternoon. Before the sunset, his body was taken down. And he was a very tough person. 3 days and nights were normally required to ascertain death upon cross of ordinary people. How could he have given up the ghost in the sense that you understand within a few hours? So then his body was removed to the sepulchre, and there, other people could sit there. That ointment was rushed, which was prepared by his apostles. Now, it is wrongly claimed by some scholars, which was wrongly claimed by some scholars, that it was a Jewish custom to anoint their dead. The modern scholars have totally rejected this. It has never been a Jewish custom to anoint their dead. The ointment has to be studied because its ingredients are used for healing the wound, for removing the pain or alleviating the pain, etc., etc. Why this ointment? Why was it prepared beforehand? Jesus must have instructed his disciples that he is going to go through this crisis and this will happen to him, this would happen to him, and you should get ready for all the necessary consequences. So then after 3 days he is seen walking out of that grave with his hands held on 2 persons. Thereby he sees to it that he does not appear before the ordinary people. Why, if he had come to life again? That life could not be snatched away from him. So that indicates that he knew that if the Jewish people or the people of the Roman Empire saw him alive, they would re-hang him, re-crucify him. That is why all the precautions. If you read your New Testament again, you will be surprised. He walks out under the cover of darkness. He is invited to walk during the day in the open. He says no. And he seems to move away from the place of crucifixion to some country in the east. And then he disappears. So these are the reasons why we believe that he was attempted to be crucified, but the agents of the law failed to kill him upon cross.
So what the Christians in effect are teaching us is something quite different to that, isn't it?
Yes, I know.
And it's therefore wrong.
I know, that is why I am presenting to the Christians a completely new interpretation of what happened with the help of their own books,
yes,
which they can depend upon. Right?
Okay.